Hello, this is Vassal of Christ, and this is part 1 of the Reconquista Series, The Muslim Horde Descends and the Christians Battle Back. In the early 8th century in the year of our Lord, Muslim forces began raids against Christian Iberia from their recently conquered territories in North Africa. And around the year 710, these raids were consolidated into a much larger invasion force that landed across the Straits of Gibraltar and began a campaign headquartered in Carthagena, or Carthago Nova, as it was known deeper in antiquity. The Iberian Peninsula was racked with turmoil and could be seen as a target prime for invasion. The Visigoth king Roderick was, by accounts, combating Basques and had to hurry south to deal with the invasion. Other accounts detailed that there was further internal struggles and that even Byzantine forces were fought in an expedition to reclaim Spania for their empire. Although generally accounts vary on precisely where and when the decisive battle of this campaign was fought, chroniclers agree that it was around the year 711 and 712, and before the fall of the Visigoth capital of Toledo. In this battle, known by many names but hereto referred to as the Battle of Guadelte, the Muslim forces used their signature light cavalry tactics and Berber horsemen that outmaneuvered the clumsy formations of the Visigoths. Roderick's host was plagued by duplicity and betrayal, and a wing of Roderick's cavalry did not join the battle and allowed Muslim forces to roll up the Visigoth line and put them to flight. It is hinted that more of Roderick's hosts intended to abandon and betray him, as he was an unpopular king who is said to have usurped his authority and been cruel and wicked, but they were too late. Roderick and a large quantity of the Christian nobility were slain, their force shattered, though the Muslims were said to have paid the price of this victory with nearly a quarter of their host. With the success of the Muslim forces in this battle, more Moorish and Berber forces arrived to continue the conquest of Iberia. Jews, resentful under Christian rule, rallied to the Muslim cause and happily seized Christian territory and were given several Christian cities to govern and garrison, such as Seville, Toledo, and Cordoba. This is important to note some 780 years later when the Spanish Inquisition would start. The historians of the age knew the reasons for the Visigoths' utter defeat and downfall: decadence and lack of penance. Only the Basques and the kingdom of the Asturias remained unconquered by the Mohammedan forces. Many towns in Iberia peacefully submitted to Islamic conquest, in the hopes that their lives and homes might be spared. The Islamic rule, though present for the better part of a millennium, began to recede in Iberia barely 10 years after the conquest, and their expansion in Western Europe would be checked a decade after that by Charles Martel at the Battle of Tours in 732. Berbers had the mountainous terrain in Spain, and the Arabs had the gentler regions, but conflict over rule and culture gradually emerged amongst the Muslim faction. The aforementioned Kingdom of the Asturias was formed when a Visigothic band under Pelagius united and refused to pay the Yiza tax on non-Muslims, and expelled the regional governor, establishing a Christian refuge in northwest Iberia. The aforementioned Kingdom of the Asturias was formed when a Visigothic band under Pelagius united and refused to pay the Yiza tax on non-Muslims, and expelled the regional governor, establishing a Christian refuge in northwest Iberia. The kingdom was deemed inconsequential to the Muslims in Cordoba, and so little effort was made to seize the land back, and it endured. Following a Muslim defeat at the hands of Odo of Aquitaine in 721 at the Battle of Toulouse, the Mohammedan forces were wary of returning without news of a victory and success, this defeat being such a major setback. The forces decided that Asturias would be easy pickings and set forth to crush the rebellion and save face. The Muslim forces enlisted the Bishop of Seville to broker an end to the rebellion, but to no avail. Pelagius drew his force into a narrow valley at Covadonga, a host that by many accounts was as small as 300 men. However, many people know of the Battle of Thermopylae, where a host of Spartans and other Greeks of similar numbers used the terrain to withstand a numerically superior foe. This was again the case. The Muslims attacked, but their numbers were blunted by the narrow front. With the high ground, the Christians bombarded the attackers with arrows and stones, and then Pelagius led a counterattack with hidden soldiers and killed many of the Muslims, including their commander. Upon hearing of the victory, uprisings erupted around Asturias, the villagers grabbing weapons and slaying hundreds more of the retreating Muslim soldiers. The governor whom Pelagius had previously exiled organized another force from the survivors of Covadonga and elsewhere, and met Pelagius near modern-day Proaza. Pelagius' forces were now bolstered by the other peoples of Asturias, and he triumphed over the Muslims once again, this time slaying the Muslim commander. Although the Emirate of Cordoba dismissed this upstart kingdom, this marked the beginning of the Reconquista and the eventual triumph of Christianity in Spain and Portugal over Islam. Covadonga was a turning point from the disaster at Guadalete, and the crusades and warfare would rage across Iberia to cast out the invaders. The shrine of Our Lady of Covadonga stands as a testament to the battle, where Pelagius prayed for intercession of the Blessed Virgin before the battle, and he was granted this heroic victory.